Welcome to this edition of Michael's Weekly Perspective Podcast. This is podcast episode 54. In this podcast, I'm going to share with you my experience of celebrating Christmas within the United States during the year that I've been in America. That's all for this edition, and stay tuned. Hello, it's great to be back with you once again on this edition of Michael's Weekly Perspective Podcast. This is podcast episode 54. In this podcast, I'm going to share with you my experience of Christmas during the years that I have been in the United States. And then at the end, I'm going to share with you a song that is a dream between us people who have a visual impairment, and hopefully we can receive them one day. That's all to this edition, and stay tuned. To get hold of this podcast, you can do the following. You can either send an email to me at munnmichael68@gmail.com. That's munnmichael68@gmail.com, or you can call using the listener line. The phone number for this podcast is 404-923-0115. That's 404-923-0115. Many times when we think about Christmas, the first thing that comes into our mind is Santa Claus. And that is true because when you go to a grocery store in December, there are more than likely going to be a Santa Claus standing outside of it. It is undebatable facts. Well, many of you know, I am from China. Majority of the Chinese people don't celebrate Christmas. Instead of Christmas celebration, Chinese people would celebrate Chinese New Year, and they take that serious as we would with Christmas here in the United States and other European countries. I didn't know that when I first came to US. The other thing that I realized when I came to US was a lot of radio stations within the United States began to play Christmas music after Thanksgiving. I grew up in a Christian-based foster home, so I have a well understanding of what Christmas is and why we celebrate it. Well, when I came to US, there are a lot of Christmas carols that was new to me. For example, Andi William's It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year, and Walking Around the Christmas Tree. Those are songs that are very new to me. When I was in China, every year during December, we would go out and perform for people, and some of those Christmas carols that I know of are O Holy Night, Joy to the World, Hark the Herald Angels Sing, and Silent Night. Those are songs that I can sing from top to bottom. And when I came to US, beside those songs, I was also introduced to some other Christmas carols, like songs that I mentioned above. Beside Christmas carols, I was also introduced to a tradition of giving out Christmas presents to everyone in the family. I'm not here to brag about the amount of presents that I have received throughout the years, but every year I would receive quite a significant amount of presents. Every year, I also have favorites and least favorites. For example, my first Christmas, which was in 2014, I received a watch, and that was one of my favorites because when I first came to US, I have been wanting for a watch. I don't know why. In 2015, my favorite gift that I received was a telescope. Then in 2019, one of my favorite gifts that I received was a mechanical keyboard, because for a long time, I've been wanting to have a keyboard that produced sound every time when I pressed the key down. I asked for a keyboard, and I got what I wished for. I have a lot of favorite presents that I received, but I don't feel like sharing it. If I do, then it would be a long time. Now I shared with you some of the presents that I have received. As I wrap up this podcast, I'm also going to share with you a song that is a dream of all people who are blind or with a vision impairment. And this dream is we could hopefully one day have a car that is Google powered. And this song is called I Want a Google Driving Car for Christmas. It was written and sung by Jonathan Mosen. Thank you for taking your time and listening to this podcast, and see you next week. Bye for now.
Okay, Google, take me to the pub.
The pub is 13 minutes from your location by car and light traffic.
I want the Google driving car for Christmas. Only the Google driving car will do. I don't like the bus. I can't stand the train, 'cause sometimes public transportation really is a pain. I want the Google driving car for Christmas. My car can take my children to the zoo. I thought I might like to ride a racing bike, but I got too close to a car that snapped my cane in two. I can see me now on Christmas morning, checking out the tree. And I'd find that Santa's elf brought a car that drives itself. It would drive down to the pub with me. I want a Google driving car for Christmas. Only a Google driving car will do. I don't want a droid or geeky Google glasses. I only like Google driving casses, and Google driving casses like me too. I drive to the store when I get the urge, instead of 3 a.m. so I avoid the Uber surge. I'd watch a drive-in movie, and when we arrived, I'd make sure that from now on they were audio described. I can see me now on Christmas morning, checking out the tree. And I'd find that Santa's elf brought a car that drives itself. It would drive down to the pub with me. I want a Google driving car for Christmas. Only a Google driving car will do. I don't want a droid or geeky Google glasses. I only like Google driving casses, and Google driving casses like me too.